Welcome to the Unshakeable Coparent podcast. I'm your host, Sarah Komoto, co-parenting and confidence mentor. If co-parenting feels like a battlefield, I'm here for you. In this space, we ditch cookie cutter advice for real practical strategies. We're all about transforming from an overwhelmed co-parent to an unshakable AF woman. If you're ready to finally tune into your personal power, buckle up and join me on this transformative journey. Let's get started. Hello. So welcome back to another episode of the Unshakeable Coparent podcast. And we're going to be continuing our journey into the world of co-parenting with our last, but certainly not least phase of the Unshakeable Coparent framework. And this is where we're going to be bringing it all together. So let's jump right in. So this phase is the culmination of all the work that we've done in the conflict detox and the child whisperer phases. And this is where we're going to take on newfound understanding of conflict management and child-centered communication and build on it to achieve a level of self-confidence and peace of mind that makes us, truly unshakable, because that's the goal here. So being an unshakable co-parent means being that rock for your children, but not just any rock. It is a rock that stands firm despite and regardless of the conflict, the stones, the fires that are set around you by your co-parent. So that is you standing strong despite everything, despite all the chaos, all the drama, and despite your children's emotions as well, and holding space for them as well as your own feelings and emotions and triggers. This doesn't mean that you never falter or that you feel overwhelmed. We're not perfect. We're always going for it's like the 80-20 rule. 80% of the time, you're doing good. So you're human, but being unshakable means that you have the tools and the mindset to recover and bounce back, learn and keep moving forward from any setback that is thrown your way. And when I say setback, I mean anything that is thrown away from your co-parent. And this means being proactive, not reactive, in your interactions with your co-parent. And it means focusing on what you can fully control and letting go of what you can't, because it is a waste of your time and energy. It seriously is. I know this because I've been there. And it's all about responding, not reacting to challenges, and maintaining a sense of calm and control. So you're going to kind of shift from overwhelmed, stuck, feeling frustrated to calm, unruffled, and self-assured in who you are as a woman, who you are as a parent, and who you are as a co-parent. So one important aspect of the Unshakeable Co-Parent phase and the Unshakable Confidence is establishing and enforcing your healthy boundaries. So when I say healthy boundaries, everyone knows about boundaries. I hear from everyone that they know how to set them, but, for some reason, they don't work with their co-parent. It's not that they don't work, it's just that they're not cast iron and they are not set in a way where they actually worked, because we're not embodying this kind of unshakable as fuckness. I mean, that's how I describe it. Think of that what you will. Some people have their own terms, whether it's becoming a badass mom or, stepping into their power. Well, whatever works for you, whatever resonates for you, but I say unshakable. So boundaries are our lines in the sand. Basically, don't overstep this boundary. You don't say that to your co-parent. It's, it's communicated in how you set and assert your boundaries and how consistent and how diligent you are with them. But these are the guidelines that we establish for ourselves and others about what we find acceptable and what, quite frankly, is not acceptable. Again, it's not something that is necessarily a verbal thing. It is a given in your behavior. I worked with someone a few years ago who said, yes, I asserted my boundary. I told them this is my boundary. And I'm like, no. You don't have to, and it's not necessary to announce your boundaries, because with certain individuals, even telling them that this is a boundary gives them kind of license to go and try and fuck that up for you. So we do not even mention the word boundaries to them. It is given in how you communicate and hold yourself. So being unshakable means respecting your own boundaries as well, and not letting anyone, not even your high conflict co-parent, not even your children, push you around or make you feel guilty or bad or shame about having those boundaries. And remember that they are there to protect you and your well-being. They are not there to hurt anybody else. Okay, boundaries, I think, as part of the good girl people-pleasing thing, we think that setting boundaries and enforcing our boundaries and stating our needs and wants is a really bad thing, or it's really selfish, or whatever it may be. It is not. Okay, and of course, the Unshakeable Co-Parent phase with the unshakable confidence, it's not just about dealing with the external challenges of co-parenting, but it's also about working on the internal challenges that you may have, any triggers, any work that you still need to do on your healing. And it's about self-growth and resilience and building that inner strength to handle anything that comes your way. And that's why I always say it's about becoming unshakable as fuck, not just as a co-parent, not just as a parent, but also as a woman, who you are as an individual, because, you weren't put here to be, your identity is not just as a mum. Your identity is not just as a co-parent. You are an individual. You're a human. You're a person who has goals, needs, and wants in this world. And nothing should really stand in your way of that. You have the power to dictate how that happens, and nothing should stand in your way. And finally, the unshakable co-parent phase and, your confidence, the unshakable confidence that you have is about realizing that you're not alone. Yes, co-parenting is difficult. It can be a dusty, lonely road if you don't have the support networks around you and you do feel isolated. But there is a community of fellow unshakable as fuck women who are there going through the same thing as you, ready to hold you and ready to help you rise the fuck up, basically. But it does depend, and it relies on you reaching out, sharing and learning and saying, I need help. Nobody knows you need help until you reach out and say it. And I know the ego can get in the way, because you can kind of feel like, I don't want to burden anyone, or I don't want to make it anyone else's problem. But there are people there ready to hold you and ready to help you rise if and when you're ready to get to that place. So I know I always say this, but it's absolutely true. I could talk about this all day, all week, all year. There is plenty more to go into. This is just really scratching the surface on unshakable confidence. And this is the third phase of the Unshakable Coparent framework. We talked about the conflict detox. We talked about the child whisperer protocol. And then with that comes unshakable as fuck confidence. Now, that's not the third phase. These things don't necessarily happen in sequential order. You gain confidence as you start doing things and as you start trying things and implementing these new things and integrating them into your life. And, the conflict detox may not be the first phase that you start with, because your children are really, excuse my French, but they're really getting fucked up from this situation. So you really need to channel and focus your energy into there. So you will start with the child whisperer protocol. Or maybe your children are very young, or maybe your children are kind of okay with it. Right now, you haven't seen any big no alarm bells really in how they are being affected by this co-parenting dynamic. So it really is about you and regulating your emotions, your triggers, and kind of having your co-parent at a safe distance. So that's where the conflict detox comes into play. Or it could be about you and your own anxiety, your own triggers, your own ruminating thoughts, and kind of holding yourself and grounding yourself first and foremost. So then it's about your unshakable confidence. But, remember, in all of these phases, you have the strength and resilience to navigate this co-parenting journey. You have everything that you need. And why it feels so fucking overwhelming is because you are trying to parent, you are trying to co-parent, and you're trying to be an individual in all of this and try and hold the fort in all of these areas. So that's why it feels so beeping hard. I don't know why I said beeping, because I've already sworn, but you know what I mean. It's a process, it's a journey, and having the support of people who know and understand you goes a long way, and there is no value you can put on that. There's going to be waves. You're going to have periods of quiet, periods of peace, but ultimately it's taking it one step at a time. And as I always say to my clients, there's no big bang, there's no big event that's going to happen, and there's no one thing I'm going to tell you that's going to make a light bulb go off and you're going to be, good. It's a series of small baby steps, implementing, integrating, and pivoting as and when you need to. Okay, and this is how you're going to gain that confidence within yourself. So tune in next time as we explore more about thriving in co-parenting in high conflict situations. Stay strong, stay unshakable as fuck, and I will see you next time. All right, thanks for spending some time with me today. And if you enjoyed this episode, please make sure to let me know. I'd really appreciate it if you could hit the subscribe button and maybe leave a review. Every comment helps us reach and empower more women just like you. And if you have more questions, let's continue the conversation over on Instagram at Unshakeable Coparenting. Okay, bye for now.